This is now the Football Social. Between 6 and 7, we talk everything football in the world of arrests for potential players, in the world of days we should remember, including yesterday, which is an important day for Manchester United fans, and in the wake of some big games coming up, some big clashes for both Manchester City and Manchester United as the Premier League ticks on and the Champions League is a week away. This is the show where we just sort of dissect everything in the build-up to the big games, and we have a bit of fun. I've got a couple of games lined up for you, including Sheffield Wednesday. It makes a return, as well as a new game. Where did they come from? I'll be telling you all about that in the second half of the show. I'm not just joined by myself, I'm joined by the United... I'm not just joined by... I said I'm not just joined by myself, I'm joined by the United correspondent. It's Alex Boardman over there.
Correspondent,
and
yes.
Ian Cheeseman. Good evening, Ian.
I didn't know you could be joined by yourself.
I said I'm not just joined by myself. It kind of made sense in my head. I'm not sat here on my own, although by the way this show started, I wish I was. On the show tonight we're going to be talking about your favourite kits. England have sort of brought out their new kit for the World Cup in 2018 in Russia, so mixed responses. It has a sort of element of the 66 World Cup kit to it, but I want to know about your favourite kits. It can be your club kit, it can be your rivals kit, it can be an away kit, a home
your
kit.
Your rivals kit
whatever
will not feature in your favourite kit list, will it?
Whatever you want to talk about, your favourite kit, let us know what it is. 0345 17625 is the number. Give us a call and hopefully we can get you on air to have a chat about your favourite kit and reminisce. Did you have it as a kid? Did you have someone's name on the back of it? Let us know. Text us 87711. We're also going to be talking about Conte over at Chelsea. An absolute nightmare as we speak. And is it time that maybe they let him go? As well as building up to the weekend's games. Manchester City take on Leicester and United take on Newcastle United. So get in touch tonight. We're on Twitter at XS Manchester, or give us a text 87711. Now there was a story doing the rounds. Obviously yesterday was a sad day for United fans. The 60 years since the Munich air disaster. Everyone sort of paid their respects. There was a variety of fans who went to actual Munich and paid their respects, and that was such a great thing for United fans to do. But not just United as well. Got to give a hand to everyone in the footballing world who paid their respects as well. Manchester City doing a lovely tweet which sort of united the city, which is the most important thing, because at the end of the day that's what really matters.
Before you go on to what you're going to talk about, can I just tell you a quick little story?
Yeah.
Because 10 years ago, when it was the 50th anniversary, Bolton Wanderers were playing against Bayern Munich in the November leading up to the anniversary of the terrible disaster. And I was sent out by the BBC to cover that game, but also to try to find a story that surrounded the disaster, because I'm bilingual, I can speak German as well. And through some investigation, I found the mayor of the town Trudering nearby where the disaster happened, and found managed to locate this farmer who'd actually been, he claims, the first one on the scene when the plane came down, but certainly one of the first, who ran out, and he told me this story, all in German, which I got translated, about the plane hitting a building as it came down, a small building, which he claimed there was a lady ironing in the cellar when this plane hit it, and she survived. And he told me about it. We walked out to the field at the end of his street, and this is where the runway was at the time. Obviously, the airport's relocated since then, and there is the memorial, which I put, and this is probably one of the few times that you would justify, I would argue, in Manchester, a half scarf. But I actually did put a half scarf myself on the memorial to sort of commemorate, if you like, my visit, etc. And I found the whole thing very, very moving, and obviously not that I needed to be told what it was all about or to bring it down to earth, but it really did emphasise how to bring it down to earth. That story is probably still Googleable if you put it in. But that was something that really had a big effect on me, and any type of tragedy like that should never be ridiculed. And when you know that there are still individual idiots who are not educated enough to avoid doing things that are negative towards that disaster, then they really need to be told by older people that not to do that.
Yeah, it's important as well that the generation of United fans, I'm part of it as well, and another generation learn exactly what it's about, because the stories like that shouldn't fade away. They shouldn't just be myth. They should be taught and learned about. And everyone should have their own sort of Munich story.
And also full respect to City, actually, because 10 years ago when it was, like, bizarrely, United played City, didn't they? I don't think it was either on the 6th or the 5th, it was the nearest game, and the City fans that day, there were 3,000 there, and they were absolutely perfect. So that, when all the rivalries mentioned, that is often forgotten, and it shouldn't be, because that was the 50th anniversary, and it was that was like a real football fan.
So, sorry, John's on the line, and we're going to speak to John now, because there was also a memorial service at Old Trafford yesterday. And what happened afterwards was the players would leave Old Trafford, all the players were there, the first team squad, and Pogba and Mata were to visit a young fan, and his dad's on the line now. Good evening, John, you okay?
Evening, Joe. Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Nice to speak to you again, John. I just set up the sort of story there. If you could lead on from your side, your perspective, and then I'll sort of take over from there. So, what happened after it was after the memorial, was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we'd gone down. We just missed getting in before they shut the gates. Unfortunately, we watched it on the screen on the outside. So obviously after the service, it was a great bit, piece that United had done there with a few guest speakers with Sir Alex and what have you. It was a lovely touch. Alex asked me if he could go and see the players. So
So Alex is your son?
He is, yeah, little Alex. Yeah, I think most people at Old Trafford know him. He goes everywhere, goes home and away where he can, and I think we're going to Seville in a couple of weeks. So he absolutely loves the football club. He watches the under-18s, under-23s. He drives his mum mad with football. But I love it, the way introduce football into his life. But I can't teach his passion. He's absolutely fanatical about watching all things United.
So what happened afterwards? You're waiting by the exit for the players, and it was Juan Mata and Paul Pogba that came out.
Yeah, it was, yeah. So they thankfully come over. We had a quick picture with David Gea. And then I think during the photo, Alex kept looking away, and I obviously realised now he clocked one, and Paul Pogba walking over. So we shouted him, and they thankfully came over. Of course, Alex, like most kids, loves dabbing. There was a bit of banter with Stephen and Adam from Full Time Devils. He's not allowed to dab. I think he's the only allowed to dab on camera. So I always have a bit of banter. Alex is dabbing there, and Pogba does it. But then there was a friend who rung me up this morning. He said, "Oh, have you seen all the negative stuff on Twitter?" And I was totally oblivious to it. I'd seen this guy had done one tweet. I think some other people had then followed it up as well and started tweeting the picture of Pogba just dabbing, saying it was like disrespectful and stuff. And I just thought, this is totally wrong. This is the kind of bad side of the internet. Things have got blown out of proportion. They've not taken it as a whole article. It's all been taken out of context. So I just thought, you know what, I'll just put the whole video on there, and then people can judge for themselves. And then obviously Alex has had a lot of love, quite rightly so, people seeing it for what it was, rather than just a snapshot of looks like Pogba's like enjoying himself. It made Alex's day. It's a sad time. We've been paid our respect, and we've been watched the service and what have you. And this was after the service. The players are coming out, and it's just a natural thing for Alex to do, for one of his idols.
I know, it's a sad sort of tale there, because of the media and the internet jump on the negatives surrounding the service. I mean, Pogba and Mata were just coming over to your son, giving him a picture that he wanted so much. Someone takes the picture of Pogba dabbing out of context. The next thing, the media are all over a news story. Alex, is kind of the dark side to the world of the internet and the media, like vultures on a story.
Yeah, it's awful, but luckily, like you managed to put that right, John, and I think your tweets now, I've seen it retweeted by about 5 or 6 different sort of news carriers, if you will. I don't know what the proper word is for them. I think your tweet has got a lot more following and been seen a lot more times than the original ones, which is great.
Yeah, you're definitely right, yeah, which is nice now. So, because obviously Alex is at school while all this is going on, so last thing I wanted him to do is come out. So just thought I'll try and put the record straight, just put the full video out there, and people can make their own judgment.
It's like you're a great dad, you've got a great son, and I'm pleased to hear that the players as well have given a bit of time as well, which shouldn't be overlooked, and unfortunately seems to be overshadowed by the negative agenda that some people have to things like that.
Yeah, well, we know, John, that what the meaning was behind the video, and we've retweeted it now on our Twitter feed at XS Manchester. So you go and have a look at that. It was players doing a nice thing. I just wanted to get you on here to explain it, so the negative stories can be balanced with what really happened, John. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
And send love to Alex as well.
I will do. Thanks a lot, John.
Cheers, John. Thank you very
John.
much. Just clearing up a story there. Thought it'd be right to clear that up.
Well
good.
done,
And it was good. So let's just speak now about the England football kit. Because there's a new one.
To be negative on this. Or
Listen, I don't care as much as probably you do. What kit they wear will probably be out come the end of the group stages. What comes off the back of this is the talking of kits and the talking of the kits, the away kits, the home kits. Now, Ian, I've put the question on Twitter and many people have got in touch with me. This is from Craig Perry. The German away kit in 1990. I don't really remember it myself. I was -5. Ian, let's speak to you about the kits that you adored as a kid, or you adore now, or you love the look of. I mean, obviously it doesn't really matter on the pitch, but the sort of the iconic kits you remember as a football fan.
Well, as a very young lad, I suppose I idolised that gold kit that Brazil played, which represented the type of football that they were famous for, and which I still love to watch these days. In terms of club kits, then clearly I'm going to say a sky blue shirt is the one that I like the most, but it's the away kits that change all the time. And I'm going to say traditionalist, but there'll be lots of people because it's not happened that often down the years. But to me, the City away kit is red and black stripes and black shorts.
Yeah.
That's been the kit that I've always loved. And the fact that these days there was a big debate for a while about whether or not kit should be changed every 2 seasons because kids want to buy them. It's too expensive, and there was an agreement at one stage that you'd change your home kit every 2 years and your away kit in the middle of those every 2 years. Now it's got to the stage where 3 kits are changed every season, which I think is just too much. I understand why football clubs do it, because obviously they want to make money and they want big kit sponsorship deals. But it means now that because they don't want to tinker with the home kit, because that is sacrosanct, so United are always going to wear a red shirt, City are always going to wear a sky blue shirt, Liverpool are always going to wear red, etc. The one that they feel that they can change, I was thinking of another word then, but I won't say that word, but that they can just change that to whatever they want, and basically just make it what I think City had a black and red checked shirt once. I've seen teams with brown shirts.
I've got a cousin who got a City shirt and he came round in it, and from the back I was like, oh, what's that? I just couldn't recognise it was a kit. I think it's green. It's like a greeny.
Yeah, the more recent.
There's some
green,
crazy shirts knocking
To me,
about.
it should be red and black, red and black stripes all the time. And I hear rumours
Because you want to be like United.
and that might be the case next season, but then it'll only be for a season, and then the year after it'll be
changed
pink, green,
again.
yellow, whatever.
Alex, your favourite kits, the kits that stand out in your head?
The Brazil one for international kits, always. And to be honest, Argentina as well, because I got an Argentina kit, and then for my
blue. So are you a secret
for my birthday, it was the away kit. No, it wasn't. It was the home kit. And nice one. High five.
Well, they just high five. That's the worst high five.
That was the whitest high five.
That was the maddest high five I've ever seen. I think I should go to a break.
I got that.
We're on video.
I got that.
That was our high five.
I got that Argentina kit, and then about 3 months later, we declared war on Argentina, so I couldn't wear it at school. But the best United kits, the away one from the late 70s, which was my first away kit, the white one with the stripes down that was made by Admiral.
Yeah.
And the home one that's my favourite, it's the 85 Cup Final one, Norman Whiteside kit. Big badge in the middle, 2 little white stripes on the sort of collar bone area, like your shoulder area, and then the Adidas signs on each hand. Those are my best 2 United kits.
A sort of topic that comes and goes in the world of football, especially just after the winter break, when clubs sort of dissect how they've done over that mad period of time where games come thick and fast. We discussed it, Ian, with Steve, if I remember rightly, on a previous show in January, about how you just felt that this time round in the Premier League there was one game too many, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think between Christmas and New Year they could have done without one of of those games.
Yeah, it was a crazy old period.
And the tendencies were bad throughout, weren't they? Because everyone was so skint.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, 5 games as well, like in the 2 weeks around Christmas. Who can afford it?
So what happens in other countries across Europe is that they have a nice little winter break where the players go away and the manager goes away and tactics are discussed and players have rests and fans have rests. As you say, people are skinning around that time. We've got Friegel on the phone. Evening, Friegel.
Hi, Joe, you okay?
I'm very well, mate. Now, can you explain to us about the winter break across Europe? Because you're a man with much knowledge of European football. Can you explain to us about the winter break and also about when it is for different countries and what it means for countries in European leagues?
So, generally speaking, there is a winter break. If you take the 4 main European leagues, Spain, Italy, France and Germany, they all have a winter break. Spain, France and Germany, generally speaking, it's the last week of December and the first week of January. Italy are not long back after theirs. They do theirs a little bit later on. They do the last fortnight in January. Generally speaking, football over the festive period, it's still viewed in a similar way to how it is in England and in the Premier League of very much taking the kids to the football, a little bit more of a family environment, a little bit more of a thing. But the actual dates surrounding Christmas and surrounding New Year, there's a lot more, I suppose you would say, reverence paid to them in the sense of, we like to have football in and around Christmas, but not over Christmas. And whenever you kind of chat to anyone that is a supporter of a continental side or a journalist or anyone that works within European football, they do find it quite mad that not only is there football over Christmas, but as you guys were saying before, so much. I mean, I think there was a period between Boxing Day and the 2nd of January where there was a Premier League game on every night. I think there might have only been one gap. I think the 29th, I don't think there was football. That, when you actually look at that and you look at that against these other leagues, is madness, in my opinion. I really, really do think so.
Yeah, so can you tell us, for European clubs, what is the winter break for? What is it like? And what happens off the back of it? Do managers go away? Do tactics change? Is it a really important thing? Say, for instance, we took a winter break away from them next year. Would it have a big impact on the way they play football?
I think it would. I think, depending on the situation that the club is in as they head into the winter break, defines what they'll do over the winter break. So, for example, a lot of the big guns, particularly in Spain and in Germany, will go away for a warm weather camp, Dubai or somewhere like that, recharge the batteries, some training, and then look to kind of hit the ground running as they come in. Other sides are almost praying for it to come because they're in a bad run of form and they need to kind of get in, batten down the hatches, and the manager will look to address things, maybe bring in some new players, or as you say, look to change tactics. It depends on a club to club basis, but it's from a club point of view, it's enshrined in the way that they operate. They find it incredibly valuable to their cause, incredibly valuable to the preparation of their players. I think obviously the national team argument is obviously quite relevant in these examples. When we look at France and Germany and Spain, the majority of their starting 11 for the respective national sides do play in the domestic leagues. So I do think that also ties in with this idea of there's a level of interest paid by the respective clubs, the respective FAs, the respective leagues towards the goal of the national team, and also to the benefit of individual clubs. So I think, as I say, for the big sides, they see it as an opportunity to break away, rest, recharge the batteries, because they'll have a very demanding schedule when they come back, European football, etc. Some of the smaller clubs who may be struggling see it as a way to just, thank God that bit's over, let's get in, back to training. The manager might have a bit more of a hardline approach, but it's beneficial across the board, and we've seen that. I think particularly in France and Germany, whilst Bayern and PSG look to have things sewn up, the race for second has really hotted up since they've both come back from the winter break, because the respective sides, kind of 2 to 5th, have been able to recharge and get themselves back on track.
Can I ask a question? Because I know about the German league because I take a particular interest in them, and obviously we know in the Premier League there's 20 teams. In the German league there's 18, which means there's 4 less fixtures. What's it like in Italy, France and Spain? Do they have, I can't just remember without looking, do they have smaller numbers in their top flight?
No, Germany would be the only exception. Everyone else is a 20-team league.
Right, so obviously the way that they manufacture the break, therefore, is because they haven't got the League Cup during the season. I don't think any of them have a League Cup during the season, do they?
France do. France do have a version of the League Cup, and Germany do. It's probably not taken in the same vein as the League Cup would be in England or in the UK.
The German version, though, is played as a pre-season tournament. It's over before the league even kicks off, doesn't it?
It is, but that then moves in towards the idea of one of the reasons they have a winter break is because they'll begin their season technically earlier. But there is still, obviously, the equivalent of the FA Cup. There's still the Coppa del Rey in Spain, there's the Coppa Italia in Italy. So there is still a cup competition. Yes, there's not a League Cup, but generally speaking, if you're looking at it from a Premier League point of view, when they only come in the third round, we're only really talking of an additional 4 games across the course of a season. So and the cup competitions are taken seriously. Copa del Rey semi-finals are this week, for example. Barcelona are still in it, who are top of the league. Valencia, who are third, are still in it as well. PSG are still in the French Cup. Juventus in the Coppa Italia. So there is a demand on the games that are played in terms of cup competitions and domestic competitions, but they just appreciate the value of this break. And I think one of the crucial things that allows it to continue is all of the sides are in agreement, as I mentioned before, because each club will have their own reasons for it. Just one thing, just to add into the melting pot, what the guys were discussing there before. When we talk about Champions League participation for Premier League sides, in the last 5 seasons, there's only been 5 appearances from English sides in the last 8 of the Champions League, which I think just adds fuel to that fire. I mean, that as a record for one of the top leagues in world football is pretty poor.
Yeah, it's not good, is it? We need to change it. Thank you very much, Fergal. The man in the know. Make sure you go follow him on Twitter as well. Get up to date with everything that he's doing, and he will hopefully be joining XS Manchester for a World Cup analysis as the World Cup kicks off later on in the year. Right, you ready for a game? Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun.
Oh, yeah.
Right, okay. So this is a very simple. It's called Where Did They Come From? I'm going to give you a former United player for you, Alex, and a former City player for you, Ian, and you tell me what club you signed them from. Who wants to go first?
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay, Alex, well done.
First.
Oh, Ian. Wow.
You got 4 each.
Okay.
Michael Carrick.
Carrick, we signed from Tottenham.
Tottenham, you going with Tottenham?
We signed him from Tottenham. He used to play at West Ham Academy in Wallsend Boys.
Yes, you going Tottenham?
Yeah.
Yes, correct. That's
Love Carrick.
1-0.
Yeah, it was an easy one, that.
Ian, Sergio Aguero.
He came from Atletico Madrid.
Tick there. Back to you then,
Some good
Alex.
strikers,
I'll
haven't
start
they?
you off
Atletico
easy.
Madrid. Yeah, go on then.
Antonio Valencia.
Wigan, easy.
You going for Wigan?
Yeah. Signed as a right winger.
Here's one for you then, Ian. Peter Schmeichel.
That's tough.
That is a tough
That is
one,
a
isn't
tough
it?
one.
I know. Sorry. Peter Schmeichel. Where did you sign Peter Schmeichel from?
Oh, that is it. Aston Villa.
Aston Villa, you say? You are correct.
Yeah,
You
well
smashed it. Here we go then for you, Alex. Phil Jones.
Ugh.
Easy.
Yeah, it is. He was really good as well. Was
Phil Jones. We signed Kun Aguero.
Was it? Let me think. Was it Bolton? What
What are you going to go for?
I'm pretty sure. It's a wanky shit. It's Blackburn.
Blackburn!
What am I talking about?
I was
You
gonna
got
sneak
I was
Blackburn.
thinking of Kale, and then as Kale went to Chelsea, and I was like, did he come in? No, it's Blackburn, obviously.
Ian? Fernandinho.
Shakhtar Donetsk.
Yep.
This game is too easy for you lot. I don't think any of you is going to get it wrong. Okay, for you, Alex. Cristiano Ronaldo.
Sporting Club Lisbon.
Correct. And then one more. We'll do 2 more actually. Yaya Toure.
Barcelona.
Barcelona. That is correct. Why can't you get any of them wrong? And then final one for you, Alex. Roy Keane.
Keane was signed from Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham Forest.
3.75 million.
Even the United one's right, me.
Are you gonna get Full House? Let's go with
No pressure.
Ian Lescott. Where did
Everton.
You're going to go
Do a
Everton
high five on
for
that.
a Full House. Oh, well, I needed to make that a bit harder, didn't I? You
No,
absolutely
that was-
smashed it out of the bag there.
That was good.